between 2 months, it still was a very wholesome experience to come here and play baseball in front of fans who care so much. Of course, we had the most talented team in the major leagues, and um, we played some really good baseball down the stretch. Came up a little bit short, but you see what the organization over there is doing to get better. Um, it's just, I'm really happy to be back, and it's a great place to play baseball.
How much did you think about in October, missing by one game and the damage you guys potentially could have done if you got in?
We all did. I think that it's just, you look back at the games earlier in the season that you want back, or that's how it goes when you miss it by one game. There's so many different things that come up in the season where you wish you could have had the moment back to, focus, whatever the attention to detail, whatever play it was, or whatever bad bounce could have went your way. But at the end of the day, that organization over there will learn from it and focus a little bit more, I'm sure, and they'll build.
Was there ever a time where you realistically thought you'd be back here?
Of course. We talked the entire offseason. It just didn't pan out, but that stuff happens. That stuff happens in free agency. That's why you call it free agency. At the end of the day, my family and I are happy to be where we are, and we miss our time here, of course, in Toronto, but I'm looking forward to Texas.
You were really distant from your family for most of the time that you were with the Jays, right? How taxing, how much of a factor was that in the decision that you finally made, although you're still not close to home?
Yeah, I mean, it's the ability to move my family to Texas now, where we can maximize our time, is the same setup we had in Oakland. We were living at our house in Oakland and playing in Oakland, where we were only apart for a short time in spring. That's important to me. It's important to a lot of players with kids and a wife. And it takes a toll on you when you're away from your family, and it's something that a lot of guys go through that maybe people on the outside don't understand. But it's the business that we're in. We get to play a kid's game still, but my family means the world to me. And you have a bad day on the field, you get to go home to your kids. It helps you out the next day.
Career-wise, Marcus, what do you think this 1 year in Toronto meant to you?
It meant a lot. I've built a routine to keep my body healthy here. That's something that Toronto does a really good job of with the strength and conditioning staff and the training staff and the dietitian and the food they give you. They do it right. And places I've been before, I learned a lot of things and brought them here. But the things that I learned here, I'm going to carry with me the next 7 years.
What does this team get in Matt Chapman, and what was your sort of briefing when you talked to him about what he was getting himself into?
Well, they get a leader. Matt Chapman came up as a rookie in Oakland in 2017 and became a leader immediately. And you don't see that every day. His defense is all world. His power is through the roof. His health is better than it was last year. So he's an MVP type of player, and you plug him into a team that's already a favorite. It's going to be fun for them.
Obviously, this Rangers team spent a lot of money. When you add that extra wild card, what are the expectations for you guys going into this year?
Yeah, I mean, that's great. Another wild card spot's great. I think we're thinking about what we need to do to build championships. We have a middle infield now that with some experience. I'm talking about myself and Corey. We brought in some experienced veterans like Cole Calhoun, Brad Miller, Greg Holland, and we have a lot of talent coming. So I think that the organization understands that. Okay, we're not going to improve by however many games after losing 100 to get to first place necessarily, but anything can happen in a big league season as well. I think that with the group we have, there's guys who've won World Series, there's guys who've won a lot of baseball games, and that experience can take you a lot further than you may think.
You were part of the executive committee involved in all the negotiations during the lockout. How draining was that to you? Because we know you have a regimen, a training regimen, a preparation regimen for the season. How taxing was that for you to go through that ordeal?
Yeah, I mean, as a player rep, you put your union hat on. We're not lawyers, but we sure did learn a lot about all the intricacies of the CBA and what's important to us and what our labor is worth, where the industry's at, where the industry's going, and what we need to fight for to get it fair. And that was our goal, is to get the CBA in a spot where we believed it was fair based off of where the industry is at. And it took a little more time than we thought. I think we're still not there, but we got a full season this year, and I'm sure the fans appreciate that. And we'll see how the next 5 years go. But it did take a toll on me. A lot more hours on Zoom calls and traveling to meetings and time away from my family. But that's the duty you have as a union rep.
Marcus,
Thank you for your time.
with all the change in Texas and the short spring training, I mean, did you guys have enough time to get everything done you feel like you wanted to get done from the standpoint of just sort of creating, like you say, the foundational team concept?
Yeah, I mean, opening day is not the finish line. When you talk about a short spring, it's something that we had to do this year. Just that's how the off season worked. And I think when we get to June, July, we'll probably forget about all that stuff, short spring. But right now it feels a little bit more rushed because we're used to 6 weeks instead of 4 or whatever it was. But at the end of the day, we'll see where we're at opening day, and if we're not exactly where we want to be, we're not going to panic. We're just going to say, okay, our body usually takes a little bit more time, and we're here in Toronto facing a good team. I'm sure they're going through the same things. But in terms of our team and what we want to build here, we've been talking every single day, having meetings about what our goals are. Woody and CY and John Daniels want us to meet and learn about each other and understand what our goals are going to be, just to accelerate the process.
For you, any opening day memories in particular that you have, or what does opening day in general mean to you?
Yeah, I think this will be number, 2014 till now. So I think that's 8. Eight opening days. You just have a little bit more nerves in the field. When that first ball gets to you, you make the play. You relax a little bit. At the plate, you put that first ball in play. You relax a little bit. It's just the crowd is crazy, and it's kind of it's not a normal feeling being out there on opening day, just because you spent the entire off season at home. But there's nothing like it. I think that you always want to come out and get a win on opening day just to build that confidence.